If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as follow me and subscribe to me on all my other social media platforms. What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with another album review for you guys, and, well, pretty big weekend for all things metal, and, well, the first album I am checking out for the weekend of May 26th is the latest offering from Norwegian black metal legends, Immortal, War Against All. So this is the band's first album in 5 years after Northern Chaos Gods, which I did listen to, and I thought it was an excellent album. Of course, this is only the second album to have Demon Oz doing the vocals, because, well, for those who have been living under a rock for the past 7-8 years, there'd been this long legal battle between ABBA and Demon Oz over the rights to the name Immortal. Demon Oz won, so Abath, that's why you see him doing solo stuff now, because he's no longer an Immortal. Then, after that legal battle was settled in like 2015, 2016, then we get a few years ago where we get another legal battle, this time with Demon Oz and drummer Horg, who Horg thought there should be a share of the rights to the Immortal name, whereas Demon Oz is like, no, I want it to myself, essentially, and Demon Oz won that case. So this is pretty much Demon Oz's band going forward, and he can do with Immortal whatever the hell he wants. But like I said, this is their first one in 5 years, their second one on Season of Mist Records, I believe. And, well, as far as any musicians, I can't remember the name of the drummer that they got for this album, but for bass and production, we would get Icedale from Enslaved to do the bass as well as production work. So yeah, this is the first Immortal album, I think, since the mid to late 90s where you didn't have Peter Tattergren doing production, because he had been pretty much producer of all things Immortal since At the Heart of Winter in 99. So yeah, a lot of relationships strained right now between Demon Oz and others, but as far as the album, well, let me just say, even though I do miss Abath's vocals in Immortal, musically, I think Immortal is still at the top of their game. Like, no matter what happens, it seems like Immortal just can't do anything wrong musically. So right away we kick off the album with the title track, which was the shortest song of the album at about 3.5 minutes. Big blast beat, but a cool, fast, chugging riff to kind of get things going, and even some hints of death metal come in here with some of the rhythms, and then there's a particular chugging riff around the middle of the song, and then some quick-fire lead work on this track. Now, lead work doesn't show up a lot on this album. It's just mostly about atmosphere and building tension and really getting downright disgusting and evil with a lot of these guitar parts. Thunders of Darkness, which was a little bit longer, not by much, maybe like 20 seconds. Right away you get blackened blast beats and tremolo riffs. However, there's a bit of a thrashy feel to these tremolo lines. They kind of made me think of early Merciless a little bit, but then you get into this awesome triplet gallop with that just feels like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. Like, there's a ton of classic metal flowing throughout this album. Then again, classic metal has always been kind of a influence wheelhouse across the entire Immortal discography, but here especially, classic metal seems to be one of the big driving influences songwriting-wise on this album. And this song with those Maiden and Priest moments, perfect. And then it even ends with a bit of a D-beat stomp that has a little more thrashy riffage going on, which goes to show Demon Oz hasn't forgotten the thrash metal side of Immortal's sound from the past. Then we get into War God, which very well may be one of the doomiest things I've ever heard Immortal do. Like, this song has a lot more doom going for it with the riffs, the rhythms, And it's pretty much felt throughout the entire track for the most part. But I love how, even with all the doom, you get these cool, like, melodic progressions that give off an epic battle feel. And then, of course, another big thing is you will hear some brilliant somber clean melodies, and this was the first time you got a somber clean melody. Big tremolo riff on top of that sweet doom groove. Then we get more of those Iron Maiden gallops that kind of alternate with the doom groove. And then it even gets a little, I don't know if it's symphonic, but it does feel more bombastic towards the end with the atmosphere. No Sun, classic Immortal with the tremolos and the blasts, and they just feel downright evil. But then you get into more classic metal riffage, like you get a particular swing that kind of made me think of like Danzig a little bit, like a Danzig swing, but there's like some Opeth guitar progressions on top, and there are a lot of moments on this album that I have thought of Opeth to some degree. This is the first time I kind of ran into that. But the chorus on this track is huge and epic with like those melodic tremolos, and it just gets bombastic and massive, and it builds up quite nicely. And the bridge kind of mixes in that like swinging groove of Danzig, but with those melodic tremolo guitars before it ends back to how the song starts. And that's kind of another thing with this album. Whenever you get a riff that starts the song, they'll typically go back to that riff either in the middle or at the end of the song to remind you, hey, you like this riff from the beginning? Well, let's keep it going in the middle, or let's end the song with that riff. And that's a cool thing. They don't abandon certain riffs that you got into in the beginning. Then we get into Return to Cold, which this track, I like the differing influences on here. Like, you get, it starts off very similar to, like, classic Bathory, like A Fine Day to Die or Bloodfire Death off of Bloodfire Death. It kind of made me think of that. Again, more somber, clean guitars. But then you get another swinging groove, but this time it feels like Judas Priest, and even the riffs in this groove made me think of the song Lightning Strikes from Firepower. So I was like, was Demonos really into Firepower over the past 5 years to kind of bring in a little bit of that riff but do it in his own way? Not that there's anything wrong with it, I thought it was absolutely incredible. And I like how there's a dramatic use of like pausing the riff, like dun 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 dun. I thought that was pretty cool to like be like, almost feels like if this was to be played live, Demonos would probably do that and get like the crowd to go, yeah, or hey, or something like that. Like that almost feels like a crowd moment. But the bridge gets epic as well as the chorus, another huge chorus once again. Now we get to Nordlander, I believe, or Nordlander, there we go. Instrumental track, and the longest track of the album at over 7 minutes, and this feels particularly somber. Like, these somber cleans really feel sad. And then you get these cool triplet gallops once again, and it feels like, again, Opeth, but with a little more dissonance. Like, this is probably the one song that has more dissonant melodies or dissonant guitars in general. Great use of melodic progressions in the background for that atmosphere. And then you get multiple leads. Like, the first lead was more... Why am I stumbling today? It's like... It's like the words don't want to come out of my mouth. Stupid idiot. I know I'm a stupid idiot. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, so you get this first lead that feels more atmospheric and melodic. Then the second lead that comes in, I want to say it almost feels a little power metal-ish, because it mixes in like those sorrowful feelings, but also has an epic feeling to it. Kind of like a good power metal solo should be, especially when it's a song about Lord of the Rings. But that triplet gallop that has that like Opeth feel returns towards the end, but it feels more like we're marching in the battle. Then we get to the song Immortal, which I'm shocked it took this long to have a song called Immortal. But yeah, Feels very much like classic Immortal, but again, bringing in those Judas Priest and Bathory influences. The pre-chorus builds quite well to the actual chorus. Cool gallop that has some insanely fast double bass work. And then the cool thing is at the very end you get a riff that feels like a more evil and dissonant version of Diamond Head's Am I Evil. Listen to the end of the song Immortal, you'll understand what I mean. Then we get into Blashgrith My Throne, the final track in almost 6 minutes. And this song, again, beautiful, somber, clean melody to open things up, and then you get the swing comes back one more time, but it feels like Opeth and Bathory combined. And I love how throughout the song you get these like alternate picking guitars that provide more atmospheric weight. And then even a notable clean melody towards the end definitely felt like Opeth, ending off with one final atmospheric lead. Now overall production-wise, it feels very old school. Like, it feels like a 90s Norwegian production, but not a 4-track production like Darkthrone. It feels more like, I want to say it feels like a middle ground production between like Blizzard Beasts and At the Heart of Winter. Like, there's still enough of a modern feel, but it has an old school feel. And this mix was pretty solid. The bass, it's prominent here and there. Like, there was a particular notable bass line in the instrumental Nordland here. Like, that had a particular notable bass line. So the bass is present, but it's kind of hard to pick individual parts apart from when the bass is isolated. The guitar work and the vocal work from Demonos, a.k.a. It was great. Like, the guitars were amazing. Demonos' vocals sound like he's really projecting the shit out of his vocal cords. Drum work varied all throughout. Like, you get like doom grooves, blast beats, thrashy moments. And then, of course, the influences of classic metal, sometimes death metal, and a little bit of thrash really reign true. Now, apart from the bass, the only minor gripe, and it's the absolute most minor of gripes about this album, they might rely too much on like those triplet galloping swings. Like, a lot of these songs do have a lot of those triplet gallops or swinging triplets, but they don't ever feel boring. Like, it never got stale for me. Like, they were able to like change up how they're performing it, like whether it feels more blackened or dissonant or classic metal inspired. Like, they're able to vary up these triplet galloping swings to not feel like, we're just hearing the same stuff over and over again and getting stale. Absolutely not. I do wish maybe they could have cut down on the amount of triplet swinging gallops, maybe done a couple more chugging sections. That's just me. But overall, I thought this was a great follow-up to Northern Chaos Gods. Now, does it hold up against Northern Chaos Gods? I'd say probably. I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10. I thought this was a brilliant album. Demonos taking over the helm permanently for Immortal, unless someday he and Abath end up, or Abath make up and get things going again, but that remains to be seen if that'll ever happen. But if it's gonna be Demonos from now on, he still has a gift for songwriting, and the songwriting on this album quite varied, and what more can I say? 9 out of 10. But anyways, that does it for this review of Immortal's War Against All. What did you guys think of this album? Let me know in the comments below. And before I go, just a quick reminder to you guys that I am currently on the road to 4,000 subscribers. I believe as of this recording, I'm about 306 subscribers away from 4,000. So please spread the word about this channel. Help me get to 4,000, because once I reach 4,000 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away 6 CDs that I had left over from the collection I had doubles of. And to enter, somewhere in the description box will be the link to the giveaway announcement video. Just go to that video and leave a comment in that video to be entered into the giveaway. And then once I get to 4,000 subscribers, I'll do a random name generator or randomizer, and that'll be how I pick the winner. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Keep your horns high and your dreams wet.